Hello everybody, how's it going? Superfiend here and welcome back to Whacky World. This is going to be slightly design and a little bit of coaster building. What I would like to do is continue on this area. I want to show you a few more ideas I had. I didn't actually work on the temple. I'm saving that for later. It may not even be used, don't know. But I had a few other ideas that I'd like to show you real quick and then start laying out some areas for this coaster track to move through. And so let's just start with that. And of course the main park is doing good. We're making money and everybody's happy. So let's go over here and I'm going to get some of the sandstone pieces. And I don't know which ones are going to be best. So I'm going to get a 1 meter, a 2 meter, and a 4 meter piece. And I'm also going to pick up, where is it here? This archway. And then I also, let's see, where are these ones at? They're in decorations, I think. Wall decorations, some sort of decoration. We've got these skulls from the pirate scenery. And we got that one there. And the skull torch too could work. And let's see, where's the other one? There is also this hanging skeleton. Might be able to use that. And in scenery, I don't know why these are in like separate categories. It's a little odd how some of the stuff is managed in this park, but anyways, I think it's under the lights. There is a skull lantern. There we go. We might be able to use these. So let's see what we can do with these. Do something a little bit fun. And 1 meter high. Let's just take this 1 meter piece and let's just move it over here and see how tall it is next to our test dummy. See, so that's pretty big. So 1 meter is probably about the height we want to use for this. 2 meters if we were going to use the bigger skull pieces. And if we just duplicate this piece and put 2 of them next to each other, and then duplicate the archway and just drop it down. And actually, let's change the grid height so we can get a little bit more granularity. And I don't know, right about there maybe. And then what does it take to, oops, I'm sorry, the archway is going to go in front. Maybe like that. And then another 1 meter piece on top. Let me see, let's play with this just a little bit more. And it's a little too low. I think kind of about there, or maybe about there is what I would like, what I think looks good. And so we could just duplicate this and set it right there like that. And so now we've got this nice little, what do you call it? Like an enclave, an enclave. I don't know what that is. Little recessed area there. That's a word I know. And what can we do with this? Let's move this over. Let's duplicate these and let's just put a few of them side by side. And let's see, this skull piece is way too big. So that's not going to work. We can get rid of that. Let's try this one here and see what we can come up with. So we could take this and go into the advanced move and sink it in a little bit, lift it up. And let's see, sunk it in a little too far, so about like that. So we could kind of have that, and is it big enough to fit multiple ones? Not the way it's designed right now. So let's just pretend that we were going to do multiple pieces, and maybe we'll just move the archway. So it looks like, oops, it didn't, oh, because the mouse moved down over the selection area there. So if we drop it to there, now let's see. Can we lower it just a tad more, and then that way the walls behind it line up nicely. So there we go, that could work. Could do something like that, and then now this is, so we can get rid of these two and replace them with just a 2 meter piece. So there we go. This is a 3 meter high area, 1 meter in the bottom, 2 meters on top, and we can fit 3 skulls in there nicely. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two now that it looks like this. And let's duplicate it again 2 times. And let's just see what else we can do. We could, I did try this off camera. This one doesn't work very well. I'm saving that for a different idea. Let's go ahead and move the lantern over here. And we'll center that. And we'll duplicate it and just slide it over a little bit. And again. And then we'll go the other way. And if we select all of these and now drop them down, these could sit in here like this. Although it's kind of funny, they start to look a little bit alien to me rather than just skulls. But that could work. And then let's do the same thing over here with this one. And we'll use the torch, the skull torch. We'll see how this looks. Okay. And go ahead and center that. Duplicate. Now with this one, there's going to be a little bit of overlap here, and that may be okay. Let's just see what we end up with. Now we'll move all 3 at once, and we'll sync them back in. Maybe to there. So you could do this, and you know it's kind of okay that these little supports are showing. It's not a big deal. You could sync them down to here. Move them out. You could always put something across here if you wanted to hide these little, this little part that's poking out, or just slide it back a little bit more, and then maybe up. And that looks like that. And so we've got some nice scenery that can go along the walls or at the base of kind of like a little raised platform area. Something that fits for a abandoned temple that was used for who knows what in times past. And if we just want to see what these look like at nighttime, because some of them are lights, we can see that these ones actually have a pretty subtle glow to them, and these ones are very bright. And I haven't tried it, but what we might be able to do to counter that, well, I'm not gonna, let's see if I can just get one of them. All right, let's just duplicate, and didn't want to delete the whole selection. Okay, there we go. So what you might be able to do to handle those lights that are very bright is we might be able to attach it to a trigger and have it only come on. Well, if we can leave it off permanently, that would be ideal. Or if we can't leave it off permanently, then maybe only have it come on when the ride goes through some part of the ride where you can't see this, so that by the time the ride gets around to them, they would be off, if that makes sense. So that is one thing that we may be implementing in our scenery over here. And go ahead and delete these pieces. And let me show you another idea I had. Pretty basic idea. Let's see, we want the sandstone again. And let's see, the floor, nope. Want the ceiling and the floor piece. There we go. And then we're going to use the cider mill, or whatever it's called. The cider press. Okay, so this is a pretty big piece. It's pretty big. If we move it over here to our little guy, it is much bigger than he is. That's okay. It will work for what I want to do with it. And what do I want to do with it? I'm going to set them like this. And we're going to rotate it so that it's standing up. Like so. And then we will duplicate, lift, rotate. We're just going to make a table out of it. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And let's see, where does it rotate around? It rotates around that corner edge right there. So that actually worked just about perfect. And we need to put some ends on it. So let's go ahead and grab that one. It's going to rotate around this dot. I think it's going to rotate around the dot. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay. And then we can just drop this down. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And now we can rotate this one. move it in so that it matches up with the others, and then just slide it back. Okay, now we've got this big table, this big block. What do we do with this? We're going to take it over here. We're going to move the whole thing, and we're going to use our queue attendant as a reference point. And we want this to be about waist height. So if we move it down to about here, let's see, we'll use the world axes. Okay, so that's about how tall I think we want that. And we don't want to lose that height when we move it around. Every time we move it, it's going to want to like snap and become taller. And a nice way to keep a reference point for what it was is you just get a scenery piece like this, or these ones are good. Just set it next to it on the floor. That way, when we go to move it around, when I select all these and I hit move, now that little triangle wants to lift off the ground, but we can always just lower it down until the triangle is flush. And that is roughly how tall it was. So that is a little trick I use for that kind of stuff. And then after we place things, we could always delete the triangles later. So what are we going to do with this? I want to build kind of a few areas that the coaster is going to zoom around through, full of pillars and other stuff, kind of make it look hazardous, like it's going to crash into them, at least in a couple parts of the coaster. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to duplicate the floor here. And let's see, I think about 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 5. Did I do this right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And of course, if we want to see how big this is in comparison to the ride over here, okay, we lift it up, and it could probably be a little bit bigger actually. So let's escape. Let's select the whole thing, and we'll just duplicate. We're going to move it, and we'll duplicate it one more time. And now let's see what we got. And how big is it? So it takes up quite a bit of space over here. That's about right, though. There's going to be enough room to really make some twists and turns with the roller coaster in there. And what we want to do now is, so this is roughly how big it needs to be. And a simple way to make sure that everything lands in the same spot is if we just take like a little section out of here and duplicate that. And this is very wasteful design. You wouldn't build anything like this in real life, but because it's a video game, we can get away with this kind of stuff. And so what do we want to do? Let's take some, let's see. How big is this? So maybe we want a couple of really big pillars over these pieces right here. I'm just thinking would be, if there's one here, the other one would be right there. And the other ones would be up here. And, you know, let's go ahead and get rid of that. I was thinking we would lay it down in an area and then just duplicate until we were happy with it, but I think we'll just do it this way. And I'm going to go ahead and steal this scenery piece that we made over here. We're going to go ahead and use that and just see how it looks. So we're going to duplicate that. We're going to add it to this building here, and I'm going to kind of dangle it off the edge. Let's just make sure that it's all part of that building. Yes. And let's see, if we select all those, we got a little bit extra. Okay. So let's go ahead and move this. And we want it right over this right here. How big is this going to be? It's pretty big. It might be too big. These larger fountains just might be too much. Let's go ahead and see how much room do we have in this roller coaster if we duplicate this in the 4 corners. And also, everything lines up very nicely because I'm still working off of the main world axes of the game. I'm not doing any funky rotations or anything. I generally like to build everything first before I start doing those kinds of off rotations and start deviating from the main axes of the game world. So let's see, we duplicated that, and we can put one right about here. I'm just using these pieces here to line it up. And let's duplicate again and move it this way. And we'll duplicate again and move it over this way. Getting closer. Okay, let's see. Yeah, see, I think they're too big. I think those fountains are too big. I think I'd be happier with just these fountains. Maybe with these in the middle instead of the big octagonal ones. So let's go ahead, let's try that. Let's go over to this building and let's just grab 2 of these and duplicate them. Let's just bring them over here and see how this would work instead. This might be better. So we're going to go ahead and just get rid of all of these. Go ahead and delete those. And let's see, how big are these? Advanced move. Kind of get it in the center. I mean, you can eyeball this stuff sometimes. It never has to be perfectly exact. And of course, we've got this nice, we can kind of see a line right here. So, you know, we can get that pretty close to right in the middle. We can see that the top 2 pieces here are maybe just a little bit off. That's all right. So what we'll do is we'll accept this. Take these 2 pieces. And we'll just slide them over until this line lines up with that line, roughly. Yeah, I hate when you grab the wrong arrow. It really goofs you up. Okay, let's see. And were those the ones that I wanted to keep? They were. Okay. So let's just see. See, now this looks a little bit off to me. It looks like these aren't strong enough to support this gigantic thing on top of it. So I'm just not liking the way that looks. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to delete those. And you know, this is just part of design and trying new things. It's a nice, here's a crazy camera again. It's nice to work in a digital medium because it's very easy to undo things. Much different than if you're actually painting or working on a real canvas. Okay, let's go back over to this building, and I think we're just going to use this tower here. This is probably about the size proportion that I'm looking for. And because it's a little bit smaller, we can maybe just, instead of going all the way into here, maybe do it around the edges like this, a little bit further out. So let's just go ahead and set that. And let's see, we can lift it up a little bit. And we're going to slide it over so that that lines up right there. And it's already pretty lined up over here. It might be a little bit off. There we go. Happy with that. And I just think it needs to be a little bit taller. So what we'll do is we'll duplicate and lift. And I think that is probably better proportioned. So let's see. Now we want to get the whole thing. Of course, it's going to grab a bunch of the floor too. Okay, so now that we got just that, we'll go ahead and move it down to about here. And let's see, where's the middle point? We got 1, 2, so we could put another one right there, I think. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and just delete all the floor pieces there. And I'm just going to select all of them here. duplicate that, and there we go. So that, to me, that looks a little bit better. I think I like that more. Now let's come over here and let's fill it up with a few more smaller columns. Let's go ahead and grab these. And I'm going to add them to the building. I'm just going to add them way up here. This is not where they're going to live permanently. Let's see. Okay, we'll lower this down. And we're going to need to make them taller. Let's go ahead and, real quick, just make sure that we're in the right building. Okay. And we'll move them. And let's just set them on the floor. Let's see. Just right about there. And now we'll duplicate and lift. So we want them to be about the same height as these other ones. And it looks like this top piece can go. Okay. And let's see if we can just select these and nothing else. Managed to do that. And let's see, where are we going to put these ones? I think they're going to kind of go... Well, here's a nice midway point, this line right here between all of these. So let's just go ahead and start with that. And just eyeballing it, that looks about correct. And we'll just put them right over this thing here. Looks like they lifted off the ground again. We'll go ahead and drop them just a tiny bit. And let's see. And are they still about the same height? They are. So we're going to go ahead and accept that. And we're going to duplicate and... Actually, I think I'm going to move them a little bit more this way, towards the inside. And the reason being because I want the coaster to be able to kind of like go in and around these things. At least that's the idea right now. I don't know if that's how it's going to actually work. Let's go ahead and duplicate that. And we'll do another one nice and lined up here. And we'll do another one over here on this midway point. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and select all of this middle stuff. We can delete them. And we'll select this way. And that creates some interesting pillars and towers. I don't think we need all of them. I'll probably remove a few of them. And I'm going to go ahead for now. I'm going to fill in the whole center with this type of element. Yeah, like this. Okay, it's going crazy. There we go. Oh boy. Why does this not want to just sit on the ground? Is it because these ones are not on the ground? How are these not all just flush on the ground? How did that happen? All right. Duplicate. Grid height. Okay, that's what happened there. All right, we'll fix that in a moment. Silly planet coaster. Okay, go ahead and just do that. Select this whole thing. We'll go ahead and move it and hit the. Oh boy. Okay, there we go. Now it sits nicely on the ground. So we've got this big pillar structure. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to go over here as part of the ride. And let's see. I think right here is one a little bit higher than that. Actually, you know what? It'd be easier to just get out of building mode and then just do advanced move on the whole building. All right, good enough. Okay, and then now we got to fix the terrain just a little bit. Let's see, we'll flatten it to this. We'll probably come back in later and kind of build the hills up and things around this hidden temple. And let's see. Let's go ahead and select the building. Use the world axes. And I just want to move it over here a little bit. I just kind of want to give it a little bit of space right here, because I have an idea for what I'd like to put over here as part of the ride. It's probably going to be a little separate building. And let's see, not paths, terrain, and we'll just flatten some more. There we go. So that looks okay to me. And so what else are we going to do here? I think I kind of want to bring the terrain up right here. So I kind of want this to be lifted off the ground. So let's just go ahead and see what that's going to look like if we do that. And so let's just lift. Okay, that was a little much, but that's all right. I want the tracks to be lower to the ground. So let's go over here into the settings game, and let's just turn off all of the collision. Make sure it's all off. Go into terrain. I'm going to lower the intensity because it is lifting pretty fast, and the size. And I just want to get the tracks a little bit closer to the ground here. I don't care if it's realistic or not. That's how I want it to be. And let's see. I want to shrink this down some more, and we're going to flatten to this terrain right here. And just come around this way. And like this. And let's see, we need to fill it in here a little bit. So we use the pole. Let's see, is it because of the I thought I had all the collisions turned off. I should be able to pull the terrain right up to the right to the path. Try this again. Maybe I just need to... Okay, let's just try this real quick. It's not wanting to build up underneath here. I could have sworn in the past with collision off I was able to do that. That's okay. You know, I'll worry about that some other time. There we go. And let's just pull out right here a little bit. Of course, another thing we could do is always delete this path and then finagle the terrain until it's where we like it, and then come back and revise it later. And, you know, let's just go ahead and build this out a little bit, kind of like it's a little cliff. A little too much over here. A little too much in the other direction, and flatten. Look at that. Okay, so I'm thinking there might be a little bit of a building right here that they go by as they cruise through this little area and head up the incline. And I kind of would like the coaster station to be enclosed off. So let's work on that a little bit. Let's close off this coaster station. And so we're going to select the coaster, and we're going to start building on the station grid. We're still using the sandstone pieces. And let's see here. What is this? 2 meters? Is this big enough to not quite. And let's change the height here to 1 meter, and that might give us the granularity that we want for what we're trying to do right here. And the other question is, do we want it inside or outside? I think we want it on the inside, because when we move it onto this other square, it collides with the path. So I think right here is where we're going to want these pieces to go. And let's just go ahead and do 2 meter pieces, not all the way around here because it collides with the track. We'll just move around this way. Oops. And we're going to ignore that side of the track. Over here. And then we're going to switch to the 1 meter pieces and just build underneath. It's going to go through the ceiling a little bit, but I don't think you can see it from below. It doesn't look like it. And set these in. I also switched the pan from holding both mouse buttons to holding the space bar. I think I like how that works a little bit better. It's a little bit takes some getting used to, but the camera's a little bit less crazy with that. And for this area right here, where it's nice and blocky, we're going to go ahead and use, where are they? They call it a station surround. These are the ones that go on the bottom. And it looks a little hard and jagged, but we should be able to clean that up with some scenery. We'll put some growth or some bushes around it, and then you won't even see the hard edges. So that's okay. And we're going to take a couple archways. We're going to put them by the entrances, the entrance and the exit. And we could even put them like here to look out. We could use these, but this doesn't look like the architecture I would expect in a temple. The little hole, this little square hole is kind of nice. Maybe we'll use that. Let's just try that for now and see how we like it. So that may be built like that. The walls over here. And then we need the other station surround that goes above. Okay, so that looks all right to me. And I'd like to put, let's see, how tall do we want this? That's another question. How tall do we want this to appear? Let me think. Well, for now, let's go ahead, let's lift it another 2 meters. Oops. The piece went totally in the wrong spot. Why did these ones, when they get to these, why do they want to drop down? Yeah, I did it again. Okay. And that looks all right for now. And then let's put a roof slash floor just on top of it. Can always change this later. Really? I mean, come on. There. Okay, so that to me, that looks pretty good. And we can't see it on the inside, but let's go ahead and take these pieces. I'm going to duplicate them, and I'm going to drop them down so that they cover up the floor down here. And I think that looks a little bit better. If we move them again, if we drop them too far, the coaster supports and stuff comes back in. If we change the grid height, we could drop them a little bit lower, but we still get some of the yellow. Okay, so it looks like that is the optimal place. And we'll go back over here and get the 1 meter. Okay, this is going to be tricky. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I was thinking we could put maybe the 1 meters along here and cover up that gap, but this is where the grid is, so it wants to snap there. We'd have to either use a separate building. We could create a separate building for that, or we could use something like the cider press and just tilt and rotate them. I'd rather use just the straight building pieces that align to the grid for a lot of my buildings. It's a little bit simpler. You just have to break your buildings up into multiple buildings sometimes. And of course, we've got this silly, you know, you can't get to this catwalk here. I don't know why that wouldn't, well, I don't know why the catwalk would have a hard edge like this anyways, unless that's a door. Okay, who cares? Irrelevant. And let's see. Now, what do we want to do with our coaster? I think, and let's not forget, we have to have a way for this thing to get back to us. So what is the general shape of the coaster going to be? Let's do some editing on the coaster, and let's just see how this starts to shape up. Hidden temple. I don't really know if we want it to go up any higher. Although we could. Let me think. What if there was like another big temple area here with stuff on top? And if this was like an enclosed temple? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Because if we were to do that, what we could do is we could use some more drive tires and kind of push it along this way. Lift it up even a little bit more, but then I think it'll be going too fast as it comes down through here. So this is already probably like, I don't know, 10 meters taller than those pillars are. So I think we're not going to raise the coaster up any higher than where it is, but we are going to use some drive tires. And let's see. Let's extend it out 10 meters. Let's do 10 meters. And then let's turn it, we'll go 90 degrees. I think I am. I think I'm going to build another like temple area over here. Another building. And so what I want is I want this to go pretty much on top of it, whatever's going to be the roof of it. How did this happen? We got a hole right there. Fix that. And before I forget, let's go fix it. We're going to go into this building, edit. We're going to get this piece, and we'll just duplicate and lift. And then probably 10 minutes later, we'll just delete the whole thing altogether. Okay, let's go over here. Let's do some more drive tires. I think we could lift them. Let's see. Okay, let's do this first. All right, that is about maybe a little bit shorter. That is about right where I want to drop them into this building. Right about there. So if we were to go ahead and set that piece. And let's see. Okay, so what we could do is if we built some drive tires coming off of it, but straight. Okay. Now we could go back. We could delete this piece. I don't want to delete the whole thing. Just no. Okay, now let's go back over here. Why is it selecting all of that too? No, just this one piece. Okay, thank you. And we want to, nope, I want to build from here. Okay. So let's see what happens if we do this. We're gonna get a kind of go on a little bit of a scenic ride up here. And let's see. Let's go ahead and build off of this, and let's just do standard track. Nope, go back. And that will enable us to delete these pieces. And let's do standard track. Let's lift it up a little bit. It's a little too much. So we got just a couple extra meters by doing that. And let's change this into a chain lift. Oops. Okay, we'll go straight. Now we'll go down. I guess 20 degrees is as steep as this gets. That doesn't seem right. That's okay. Okay, and then can we get this one flat with this one over here? We can. So now we just need to connect these two pieces. So let's change to drive tires. Let's see. Let's autocomplete and see what it does. Nope. Okay, this is gonna be a little difficult. They are the same height. Nope, they're a little bit off. Okay, well now that we got the chain lift where we want it, let's see. And let's see, delete, 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 delete. Okay, let's go back over to this. Kind of go in a more gradual loop. And let's see. Well, it's okay if it's going to be a little bit off. I thought this would line up nicely, but it just doesn't look like it's going to do it. So let's just go ahead and delete all these. Should have just maybe done this from the beginning. And let's see. And we'll straighten that off. And let's just try a piece of flat track that's straight. Okay, like that. And then I want to turn all this catwalk off. So I'm going to select everything. I don't want a bunch of catwalk up here. I think I want the catwalk to end over there. Turn that off. Okay. And let's take a short break from this and just go over to the research, which has been running, and get our goodies. Yeah, we got our go-karts. Gears of Fear. And a collider. A family ride, it says. Okay, a twist on coaster technology. Replicated aerial acrobatics. And let's do back to the 80s. Sure. And let's just max these out. There we go. Multiple rides have no entrance. I know. I noticed that. And let's see. What do we want to do? So now that we got this up here, let's see if we can't weave it in and out down here a little bit, and then we'll see what we need to keep and what can go away. So we got regular track, and does it still have the cat? I don't want catwalk. No catwalk. Okay, no more catwalk. So let's bring this down. Let's go straight into a drop. And let's see. I'm going to turn off the angle snap. Probably going to do this more freeform. And let's see. a little bit steeper maybe. Yeah, about like that. Now we're in the ground. So let's lift. Let's bring it this way. We'll straighten out this banking a little bit. Of course, we can always use the smooth feature. And let's see. It's going to be quite a bit of G-forces on our riders if we move it up too quickly. Let's see. Maybe it's going just a little bit too close to the ground here. So let's escape out of that. Let's go back. And let's undo. Okay, let's lengthen it out. We'll move it over this way. Actually, let's try a different thing here. Let's try this instead. Let's see how this works. Whoops, I didn't mean to grab that. Okay. Oh, and another thing I'd like to do while building this, I'm just going to go ahead and set that piece. I would like to turn on the, or turn off all of the, or turn all the collision back on. I'd like to uncheck these boxes. Because what I want as I'm building this is I want to know if the coaster car is going to crash into things, if the people are going to crash into things, if it's going to clip into pillars. I'd like to know that ahead of time as I'm building it. It just makes things easier. And let's see. So see, we kind of got ourselves into a weird spot here. So let's see. Yeah, this is really going to be interesting. Okay. Let's go ahead and unbuild a piece now that we have the collision re-enabled, and let's just try this again. I'll flatten this out, and I think I'm going to shorten it a little bit. Let's see, because I would like to shoot them through here somehow. We'll probably just have to remove this pillar, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah, okay, to heck with it. I'm going to turn the collision back off. I thought that might work better, but, you know, take some experimentation. That's fine. That's what this is about. Struggling to get the thing we want. And let's see. Let's shorten this. And let's come this way. And let's keep going this way, but let's kind of go up. And I don't want to start turning them upside down yet. I'd like to go up a little bit more before we do that. Yeah, okay. And we'll turn it this way. Let's see. Get this thing to behave the way we want it to. No. Let's try again. So let's pull it down, then pull it over, then rotate it. There. Forgot how to do that. Okay, and for this, I think we'll just swing them through. Shorten it up, and that looks a little bit better. We'll give it a slight turn as they come through here. And then we'll turn them back over. And you know what we'll do? Maybe we'll come through a tunnel and then come back out. Oops. I want it to be a little less gradual, or a little bit more straight. Okay. And we are going to bump right up to the edge of the map in doing this. So I don't know if the tunnel is going to work because of the terrain and other stuff. Let's see. Can we get a little lift in here too, so that when they come out, they got some speed to go back down? I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to. Let's just see what we get. Let's just go flat for a second. Let's just see what happens if we test this thing that we've made. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the game speed, because there's a lot of drive tires that it's got to go through. What is this? This is not a chain lift anymore? Okay. I thought this was a chain. What the heck? Alright. How is that not a chain lift? Alright, let's go down here. Chain lift. There we go. Let's stop the test and restart it. I don't know how that became regular track and not a chain lift. Where's our car? Is it paused? I guess I paused it. Come on. Okay. So they're going to cruise along. What the heck? What is going on? Okay. Okay, I have no idea what is going on with this right here. Is it connected now? Is it going to work? Alright, let's see. Alright, here we go. So they're going to go on this nice little scenic thing. I don't know what we're going to put up here. And regular speed. And let's just watch them clip their heads against these pillars. Look at that. That looks exciting. Let's look at the heat map real quick. I would think the excitement would be like a 20 in there if you think you're going to knock your head against some of this stuff. Let's go ahead and speed it up one more time. And let's just look at it from their point of view real quick. Just want to see, how does this look if you were writing this? And regular speed here. Yeah, it looks a little jittery. That's okay. We'll probably end up smoothing some of that out. And, okay, let's get out of here for a second. I think what we're going to do is we're going to end this episode here. We're going to come back in the next one, design some more stuff. I want to put some more building over here because I would like this to kind of move around in here a little bit more, and then maybe look like it's crashing through a wall into some other area. And we'll put some of these little sacrificial tables, offering tables, whatever you want to call them. Put some of those in there with some fire, and probably cover that with terrain so that it can be dark inside, because otherwise the game light will bleed through any buildings that we put in there. Thank you for watching. Come back and check out the next one, and we'll see you then.